he barely looked up when she greeted him. She said, "Are you all right?" And he responded, "Oh, I'm just sitting here waiting to die." She said she caught her breath and then said to herself, "Well, what would it take to get you out of here?" He wanted an accessible apartment of his own and nursing staff on site 24/7. So, Hope found a property with 9 duplexes on a quiet, really cul-de-sac. And she figured there had to be similarly motivated young people with disabilities who were also in nursing homes, and so she wanted to try to help. But the problem was she had no money, and she knew that it would take at least a year to find and submit federal low interest loans and grants. So, as a last resort, she wrote to 2 CEOs of large Will County corporations requesting a loan she could pay in 2 years. And then I let add his story. So one summer morning, she found a beautiful golden retriever sitting on her front walk. There was a name tag on the dog. She called. A young man came and said, "Oh, I'm so glad that Daisy's here." And he left with the dog. He was, as they said, he'd just been house sitting. The next day, the dog came back. So she called the number again. This time, a man came, and when she introduced herself, she said, "I'm Hope Cassidy." And he said, "Well, I have a letter from you on my desk." And he was one of the 2 CEOs that she had written to. So the following week, she picked up a check from him at a local bank, and she purchased the duplexes, completed necessary modifications, quickly filled them with wheelchair users, and worked with the Colorado Department of Social Services and was certified as an atypical home health agency. Soon, she had a waiting list of 33 people who were needing or physically disabled and needed places to be. And she found a place right across from UNC with 18 apartments, right on 8th Avenue. And some of the people who were interested in coming wanted to work on degrees at UNC, and UNC was one of the first accessible universities in the United States. So she then got campus, so she got federal grants, low income loan, and purchased and remodeled Camelot apartments. So then she had what she referred to as Camelot 1, the first group, and Camelot 2, the second group. So residents really started coming from all over the country for this. Craig Hospital was referring people, the word spread quickly. And then she had to rehab some of those apartments and rehab in Camp 2 also. Then she also realized there was a need to help people who were survivors of traumatic brain injury. So in '92, she started a capital improvement project to build an integrated apartment complex. That opened in '94, known as the Hope Apartments. And so we had survivors of traumatic brain injury who were there. And then shortly thereafter, the warm water therapy pool opened, and they started remodeling Cam 2 apartments, and they had to build a new addition so that they could have more people and people who had required more complex medical support. Then she acquired Stevens Farm in 2001, and they built a residence and day center there at Stevens Farm in 2003. In 2004, Cam 1 was sold to North Range Behavioral Health. And at that point, those residents needed a place to go. So an elevator was installed in Hope Apartments, and they began converting available apartments for wheelchair accessibility. So we had both brain injured there, and we had physically disabled, and then they also were at Stevens Farm. And so that is a very quick synopsis of everything that happened in 2020. Thanks.
Thank you. History is always, as my history professors in schools said, it is important to look at history. If you don't, you'll repeat the mistakes of the past. So we're sort of grounding it in that history. And next we have Rochelle Miller, who is sort of representing all of the community support people who have come together to try to address the questions that residents have about trying to make this transition from Hope Apartments. And we're happy to have her here today. I'm not sure, Rochelle, we've had a little technical difficulty with Zoom, but we're hoping for the best as you present. Thank you so much. She is the CEO of Connections for Independent Living. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Young. Can everyone hear me okay?
No. We're miking you up. Try again. We just mic'd you up.
And if at any point you can't hear me or anything glitches, please let me know. Somebody hold up a hand or hit me on the chat there. Like Representative Young said, thank you so much for having us here today to represent the community partners that deal with housing issues and the accessibility of them within our region on a daily basis. This isn't anything new. It's not anything that, like we said, we haven't been sounding the horn on for many years. But let me give you a little bit of context. Connections for Independent Living is one of the 9 centers for independent living in the state of Colorado. We cover a 7-county region, Weld being one of those counties. The 9 centers for independent living do not house anyone, but they are built from the movement for independent living for people with disabilities, of which Colorado is one of the pioneers in that movement. Connections for Independent Living has been around for 37 years, and the motto of independent living is nothing about us without us, and that has been it from the 60s, and accessible housing has always been one of the issues of people with disabilities. Right now, there are about 5 community partners who are working with the 29 residents of Deo that are looking for accessible housing. Currently, the Connections folks, our housing department, which is really just kind of a department of one plus a couple of other people that assist them, we hold just under 200 community choice vouchers or Section 8 housing vouchers that we assist people with. And this is a continual problem, trying to find any kind of accessible housing in our market and throughout the entire state of Colorado is a continuous problem. Currently, there are 11 bills drafted in the legislature regarding how specifically with people with disabilities that will affect people with disabilities. So, and when I say that there are 5 partners working in just this, one section of folks that are needing housing, we need all of us together. It takes every single one of us, and any of those partners, the municipalities that are working along with us, or the nonprofit partners that are working along with us, or the legislators, if any one of those people aren't stepping up to the plate, this super crisis just expands and expands and expands beyond our control. So we're really hoping that you will take time to effectively talk to your legislators about the 11 bills that are being drafted right now that could really help in this area and make it so that, I love it that, and with every, 5 of my being 11, there are 60 units that are going to be built, but 5 of them being accessible isn't enough. And I understand that there are cost initiatives and there's all these problems around it. We have to break down those barriers. We have to be better about this. People with disabilities are needing to live on their own independently more and more as our population ages. We currently have 750,000 people in the state of Colorado who have long COVID symptoms, who are in the last 3 years now qualified as disabled. That's 750,000 people that have been saturated into maybe needing more accessible housing instantly. So, the problem is just getting larger and larger, and we are really losing control over it. And I do thank the folks at ADEO for bringing more light to this problem, but it's not new. It's not something that we haven't been dealing with daily. There's not enough funding. There's not enough support. There's not enough voices together, and we just need more. We need more of all of those things. So the importance that we feel right now, please let's try to keep carrying that and do something about it and take action.
Next, we will have, and I'm hoping not to mispronounce his name, but we have to wait for our tech person to pull him up, is Josh Fullenwider. Fullenwider? And we're
Yeah, so give me like 10 seconds and then everyone will be able to hear you.
And turn your sound on as loud as you can. And we've had several tech people working on the reverberation, and my computer's on mute, the mic is on mute, so we're not sure where it's coming. 25 years of doing tech didn't, my husband tried his best to diffuse it.
There's even a tech support sign hanging on my door in the Capitol.
But while we're, I guess we lost Nate, so.
It's back. We're good to go.
Okay.
We're good to go.
Just wait 1 second.
Can you give us a countdown or speak?
Pardon? Oh, I was just gonna announce some people. We have Deb DeBudas, City Council here. We have Commissioner Perry Buck here. And from the state, please introduce yourself and what organization you represent. So we have statewide interest.
Hi everyone, Kara Harvey. I'm the Division Director for Aging and Adult Services at the Department of Human Services. I'm mostly here as a citizen because I live here in Greeley, but if you have questions on resources, please let me know.
Okay,
Jim Reesburg.
go ahead. Oh, and the chair of North Range